So you're getting started with AI coding and have probably played around with tools like Lovable or Bolt. And those tools are pretty cool, but honestly, they are also pretty limited and can get quite expensive. I feel like a lot of people are afraid of getting started with more advanced tools like Windsurf because they look a little bit overwhelming at first and they don't work out of the box like, for example, Lovable does. By now, I've started dozens of projects with Windsurf, and over time, I figured out a simple step-by-step process that I use for every new project. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you in this video. We will set up Windsurf connected with a Supabase project through MCP, enable GitHub integration, and even configure some best practice development rules that will make your workflow much smoother. This setup will save you a ton of time and help you avoid hitting a lot of the roadblocks in the development process. And after watching this video, you will be confident to build your next app with Windsurf. Let's get started. What I see a lot of people do is when they start a new project is they jump straight into Windsurf and type something in like, create me a Next.js 15 app that does XYZ. And don't get me wrong, you can definitely do that. However, I found this approach to be a little bit unstructured and also gives you kind of variable results. And you also need to build out a lot of parts later down the road. So what I like to do instead is I always get started with this template over here. It's completely free. It's by Vercel, and I will link it down in the video description. That's a template that already gives us the basis structure of everything that we need. So it has the Next.js 15 framework. It comes with Tailwind, CSS, TypeScript, and it also has the infrastructure to be connected with Supabase. So if you haven't already, go ahead and create a Vercel account. It's absolutely free to start. And I also love Vercel for later on deploying my app to public. So when we open up this template, the only step we need to take over here is click on deploy. And then on this page, we go ahead and push this template into our GitHub account, which is the place where we're going to store all our project files. So go ahead to GitHub. If you haven't connected it already, you can just connect it with your GitHub account and name your project, for example, my app. And then just go ahead and click on create. And then you already have this project on GitHub, which is a place where we are going to pull it later from into our Windsurf project. Step number 2 is to connect our project with our Supabase. I'm guessing you already have a Supabase account. It's very popular also with tools like Lovable, and it's my absolute favorite tool when it comes to all the backend structure and databases. So if you haven't set up a new organization in Supabase, and then we can go ahead and create our project within our Supabase account. We can name it my app. Go ahead and create a password for it that you just need to copy and store somewhere safe. And for the region, you want to pick a region where most of your app users are going to be, because there you just have the shortest connection to them. So we go ahead and create our project. And this is just going to take 1 or 2 minutes to set everything up. But in the meantime, we can go ahead into Vercel. I don't connect my Supabase down here because somehow it always wants me to create a new Supabase account. So I go back into the Vercel account. And in the Vercel account, select the project that we just created. And we need to come to the settings and go to the environment variables. We need to connect your project with Supabase. And in Vercel, there's 2 environment variables that we need to set up. So 2 keys. First one is next public Supabase URL, exactly like this. I'm going to paste this in the description so you can just go ahead and copy paste it into your account. And then the second is this key over here. Now, don't worry about the warnings over here. Both are called next public, so they're safe to deploy public, and we actually need it to have the front end be connected to the Supabase. So for the first variable, we need to bring the URL down here. That's the public Supabase URL. And the other one is the anon key. You see it also says public over here, so it's safe to share on Vercel. Just go ahead and paste both of these, and then we want to save them. And then we have successfully linked your project with Supabase. And for the next step, we want to open up GitHub, go to our repositories, and here you should already see the app that we just deployed from Vercel into our GitHub account. We just go ahead and grab our URL. And at this point, that's the first time when I actually open up Windsurf. So instead of opening a folder or creating a new project over here, we want to open up the command palette which is on Mac Command, Shift, and P. And then we want to type in git clone. I already have it over here. And here you see provide repository URL from GitHub. Now, if you don't know where to find it, you can just open up your GitHub again, go to the repositories, and here you should already find the app that we just pushed from Vercel. Go to the app, and then we just copy this link from up here, come back here and just paste it over here and hit enter to clone it. And we just create a new folder for our app. Again, I call it my app, create, and select repository destination. What happens now is we're pulling this template we have locally into Windsurf over here. And now instead of sitting in front of an empty project, we already have all the files, all the good structure that our template gives us, and we can build up on this. There's one more thing I like to do and that is giving our Windsurf some rules to follow when coding, which just gives us way more reliable outputs. So a rule set that I always set up and I always implement when I work with Supabase is this official rule structure over here from Supabase. Again, I'm going to provide the link in the description. And this just comes with a lot of rules that tells our AI code editor, our Windsurf, on how to actually interact with Supabase. And you will see if you work with this, you run in a lot of less errors than just leaving it there without a structure. So the only thing we need to take from here is go ahead and copy this. And you can bring it over here into Cascade or right away paste it into your terminal and hit enter. And this is automatically installing all our rules over here. You see it over here. Don't wonder why it's called .cursor. Windsurf understands all these rules up here. And you see it provides Windsurf over here with a lot of rules on how to prompt different actions. Now there's a final part to finish up the Supabase connection with your Windsurf project. And that for first, we need to come to this .env example file over here and rename it to env.local. So replace example with local. And over here, you see in the template, we already have those keys, and those are the exact same ones that we pasted into Vercel. So let's go back to our Supabase project and copy in again the project URL, paste it up here, and the NN key, paste it down here, and we can just hit save, so Command S. And the final step we need to take, we only need to do this once and you have set it up across all your Windsurf project. And that is setting up the Supabase MCP with your Windsurf over here. This pretty much allows us to prompt anything in natural language over here to modify your Supabase. For example, adding new tables, connecting different tables, and do everything across your Supabase account. So what we need to do to connect the MCP server is we go to this little hammer icon over here where it says MCP servers. And you see right now we have 0 available MCP servers. So let's go to configure. And we need to open up the following URL. I'm gonna again post this in the video description. Open it up, and that's the Supabase documentation for connecting an MCP with your IDE, so with your AI code editor. So we're using Windsurf. Let's go to the Windsurf section. I am using macOS. We can just copy over here this whole JSON code, come back to Windsurf and just paste the whole code over here. And then we just need to replace this whole placeholder with our actual one. So let's come back to Supabase. We need to go to our organization, go to access tokens, and over here we can create a new token. I am going to name mine Windsurf MCP, generate token. And then we can just copy the token and paste it as the access token. I'm going to hit save by Command S. And if we now refresh this, we see that Cascade and Windsurf has now access to our Supabase MCP. So you see all the different functions it can take. So listing all your different projects, creating new databases, new tables, pretty much everything it needs to do to fully interact with your Supabase. And that's everything we need to do to set up your project. We can now go ahead into the preview, start a new preview. And the first time, if you're starting Windsurf, you might need to install a little bit more over here, but cascade over here just guides you through everything. You can pretty much accept everything. For mine, it just starts the development server, and we need to install a bunch of packages. Run the development server. And here we go. Let's open up the preview in our browser. Now here we go. Everything is up and running. So this is your app. Again, this is just the template over here. But yeah, let's quickly test this out and make a change to both the front end and the back end. Let's maybe start over here in the front end. Create a simple hero section for my landing page saying, welcome to my first app. So it goes ahead and does all the different modifications inside of your app. Here we have it, welcome to my first app. And let's also test out the backend so it can do stuff in Supabase. Create a new table in Supabase that is called profiles, where we can store the first name and last name of the user as well as an avatar picture. You see it calls the MCP to list out all the different tools. It finds our app over here and then goes ahead and calls the different functions. So in our Supabase project, we should soon be able to see the table being created over here. Let's refresh this. There we go. It created our profiles table in the backend with our first name, last name, avatar, and even connected to our user over here. So that's it for this video. Again, I will put down all the resources that I used down in the description. And if you want to learn more about building with AI, make sure to subscribe to the channel and feel free to check out my last video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.